Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is Michelle, and who's here with me?
Oh, it's JD, I think. Is that correct? Yeah, that's it. It's JD.
Oh, hang on. Let me check the script. Yes, it is JD. It
Sweet.
is JD. He's played by a different actor every week, so I do get confused sometimes. This week it is JD, but oh wait, no. According to my script, it's always JD, and it's always Michelle. It's always us. Sometimes we have a guest, but
we're super weird sometimes too. If this is your first time tuning in, just fucking buckle up, guys. You're coming in here like 130 odd, 40 odd. I don't even know at this point. Episodes deep. If you want to understand how we got to this state of affairs, it's on you to go back and do your research. But I'll tell you this, the people who have been around for a while love it. So I promise you what's happening right now, plenty of people think this is super cool.
And we do question everybody on that list. I do have a list of them so that if there's ever like a mass murder spree and one of our listeners is on the list, I'm like, yeah, that checks out. That makes
on the list
sense.
of victims or the list of suspects?
Oh, suspects.
Okay, I was going to say that's...
For the record, I do not believe that being one of our listeners makes you more prone to be murdered. So if that's your
nor
hang
does
up.
it make me hope you are murdered. For that
Absolutely
matter.
The opposite, actually.
Yeah, we need all the plays we can
listen.
get, guys. Hey, so before we go too much further, have you been listening to us for a while? You have? Cool. How come you haven't left us a rating and review? Some of you have done it. Some of you are super, super rad, and you've taken a moment to leave us a rating and review. Some of you
and
out
all
there
the new
are slacking.
listeners are leaving 1 stars right now.
You're slacking.
2 minutes in, and you're already
it's fine.
pestering them.
Michelle's the one who cares about the ratings and reviews. I'm the one who cares about the play numbers. It's fine. We love you guys.
I have a fragile ego, so anytime I get a 1 star, I cry about it for a little bit. So just keep that in mind. I'm a very fragile human, and it's scary to me. I just want to be
for real,
liked,
guys. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't be a dick. But
if you have constructive criticism, I'll take it. I'll still cry about it. But okay, anyway. Well, we're starting with the therapy portion. I feel like we haven't done that as much in Spooktober as we usually would.
Well, we just got these short films that we're talking about.
I know.
So
just a little bit. Little bit.
You know what I love about
Spooktober
at this point is we came into this thinking, and then we can just make these like little short, maybe like 10, 15-minute episodes, and we're so far beyond that. What the fuck is wrong with us?
We should have known better. Our listeners should have known better. You know what? This is on you,
Our
guys.
listeners did know better, and we were just sitting here delusional as fuck the whole time.
They're like, oh, yeah, they're definitely going to do a half-hour episode on a 2-minute YouTube clip. Yep, they knew. We did not. Anyway, well, let's get into one of our shows that we watched. So for Spooktober, the first couple weeks we had themes, and we are on week 3, and this week's theme is fan films of classic horror. If you follow our social media, there's a whole schedule on there, and then you can watch those along with us.
Yes.
We are going to be spoiler heavy the whole time. These are
links
short.
in the episode description if you haven't seen it yet and you want to go do that before we spoil everything.
We're going to spoil everything, including this one.
Including your day, if you don't go watch this before you get it spoiled. Oh.
You're threatening them now. We're going to have terrible ratings.
I'm a bad person. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sorry.
You know who else is a bad person? Freddy Krueger. So in today's clip /show/short, we watched Dylan's New Nightmare, a Nightmare on Elm Street fan film from the Horror Show channel, and Odd Connection that we did not find out until we were already into Spooktober. They did this in collaboration with Womp Stomp Films, which it was actually yesterday's show was about them, and Never Hike in the Snow, which we realized we ruined for ourselves. So we're going to go back and remedy that and do a bonus episode. So if you're here from yesterday's episode, we know we screwed up. We do that. We ruin a lot of things accidentally.
Yeah. So big shout out to Womp Stomp Films.
And also the Horror Show channel.
I do think there was a certain, not necessarily that it would be cooler, but it would be a different kind of cool if they were called Womp Womp instead of Womp Stomp. because then you could say it like that. What's the company called? Womp Films, but, I'm weird,
bet they've heard
guys.
that
I'm
so
sorry.
many times. So many times. I bet they dread it. They think about it at night. They're like, man, now that people know who our channel is, we can't change it. But they're
That's
probably
fair.
like, man, JD is so smart. I wish we had done
He's so
that.
right. Oh, God.
You know what's
Anyway,
a really good horror show channel name? The Horror Show Channel. It really tells you what it's about. You get right
That's
into
why
it.
we called our podcast We Watch Shudder, which is hilarious for me to say that because we're not watching Shudder right now. But
I watched Shudder today.
we were at least, I watch Shudder pretty much every day, but we're not talking about it in this episode. What are we? We're talking about Dylan's New Nightmare.
We watch YouTube. Yeah.
This is your only spoiler warning, guys. We're going to destroy this for you if you haven't seen it yet, so go see it. Link in the description. Michelle, you want to summarize this one for everybody?
Absolutely. Okay.
Hit it up.
I will hit it up. The main guy's name is Dylan, or is it Dylan? Hang on. I do have to pause before we even get started.
The main guy's name is Freddy Krueger.
Oh, my God. No, ever since I saw we were doing this episode, I've been very mad. There's a thing I have to say I have been furious about for 15 years. It's not related to the thing we're about to watch. I just have to say it. I will make it quick, I promise. I did not know until I was in my mid-20s that most people pronounce Dylan as Dylan. I had a kid in my school. I went to school with him from kindergarten to 12th grade. He was the only person I knew with this name, and his name is Dylan. So every time I called somebody this name, they corrected me, and then they'd laugh at me and say, no, it's Dylan, you idiot. And I went, not according to Dylan. And I'm still so mad about it that I feel like I was told incorrectly just to mess with me. So
there is a did you ever watch, or are you maybe just a little outside the right generational target for the Chappelle Show?
Oh, of course I know this Chappelle Show.
And so are you not familiar with the sketch from Chappelle's Show where there's like a rapper named Dylan?
No, I know, but it's different. This guy was not
rappers in the world.
Yeah,
Dylan.
It's different. Let me just be mad, JD. Okay, now I'm going to get into the plot, but I just had to say it because I knew I was going to have to say Dylan a lot, and it's a very sore subject for me.
You can go ahead and say Dylan's New Nightmare.
No, I know it's wrong, though. It's wrong. Anyway, Dylan's New Nightmare. My new nightmare is the name Dylan/Dylan because I never know. Okay, so Dylan's New Nightmare. Dylan is an actor, and he goes to try out for a part, and the director's a little bit weird, and he knows his Dylan's parents, and then all of a sudden, oh no, the director is Freddy Krueger, and both the other people in the room, they're going to kill themselves in terrible ways. And now Freddy Krueger, he's coming for Dylan, but don't worry, because Dylan wakes up, because that's how it works. You sleep, and then you wake up, if you're lucky. And then he goes to talk to his therapist, and his therapist is like, tell me about your nightmare. And he's like, I'm only going to tell you a little bit about it, which you shouldn't do with your therapist. You should be completely open with your therapist unless they are going to lock you up for something you say. If the thing would harm other people, then yes, absolutely tell them. But if not, and you're like, man, I really don't want to be in the hospital for the weekend, I got plans, then like maybe just don't tell them the whole thing. I've learned the hard way. I've never actually been not incarcerated, whatever, held against my will in a hospital, thank God, because I lie to my therapist. Anyway, so he talks to his therapist, and then he says that he hasn't talked to his mom in a while, and she says, well, you're just feeling guilty because you have to talk to your mom, which I also don't do that. I don't recommend that. And then the therapist is making notes about Dylan, and then, oh shit, Freddy Krueger's there, even though the therapist is not asleep, so I don't know how that works. I didn't see her nod off. That's kind of Freddy's thing. I have questions about that. But then she just gets straight up murdered, and then Dylan gets a call from his mother, which is the true horror of this short, the idea of my mother calling me. So, the end.
Okay, I appreciate that plot summary, Michelle, but there's one crucial detail that you left out in that whole thing.
I believe that. What did I forget?
Who is Dylan's mother?
Oh, Heather Langenkamp.
Yeah, Heather Langenkamp, who was the actress who played, why can't I remember the character's name? Holy shit. Anyway, Nancy, she was the lead in the original Friday the 13th, and then, of course, in Wes Craven's New Nightmare, Heather Langenkamp played herself, in air quotes. And so this movie, Dylan's New Nightmare, as a fan film, I found very interesting because it's a sequel of sorts specifically to Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
That is a crucial detail. You are correct.
Yeah,
I was just so mad about the name.
No, that's okay. Let's actually tangent for a minute here. Let's talk about Wes Craven's New Nightmare. What do you remember when you first saw the movie? What are your thoughts on the movie? What do you think of it?
I do not recall a single thing about Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I am looking to see if a single scene pops out in my brain. Nope, I'm just on Google. So I know I've seen it. I've seen all of the movies, but I do need to rewatch this one. So that's going on the Spooktober list. I got to revisit it. Nobody get mad at me. You talk about it instead, JD.
What?
But you know what I have seen? Freddy vs. Jason. Great movie.
Wait, Michelle, I may have just sort of gapped out there for a minute. Are you saying you have never seen Wes Craven's New Nightmare?
No, I'm positive I've seen it. It has been so long. You can watch a movie and remember it for the rest of your life.
Oh, yeah, I see.
I have a memory disorder, so like I forget things. I store them, but I cannot recall them is my disorder. So I have to go rewatch.
No, that's cool. What's really interesting about that is also from my side of things, like you're right, but a lot of it is tied specifically to my reaction to the film in any direction and how intense it is. Like, I tend to be able to really well remember movies that I really liked and movies that I really didn't like. But the movies that I was just kind of middle of the road on, if I don't watch them for a while, I will forget a lot of specifics and details. So it's almost just about the more intense my reaction is to it, the more or the better I remember it.
That makes sense. The Freddy thing that I have very vividly in my memory is Dream Warriors, Sleep Warriors, whatever it is, where he takes the man's...
Warriors!
Is it Dream Warriors?
Yes, it's Dream
okay.
Warriors.
But Dream Warriors but it sounded stupid to me. Sleep Warriors sounded so much better. Okay, well, Dream Warriors, because it's a nightmare. It's not a dream. It's a bad dream. Anyway, so Dream Warriors, where he takes that kid's veins and puppeteers him off the roof. Like, that is insane to me. So that's the one I remember very vividly. In Sleep Warriors.
No, but I've always appreciated, like, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, at least in my memory, from the moment it dropped, was a very divisive film. Some people, this predates Scream and is very meta horror, and a lot of people very much like to remind people of that whenever Scream is definitely the meta horror film that kicked that into the mainstream eye, but this one did kind of predate it, and it's another Wes Craven film. And so there are definitely some interesting ideas at play in that movie. I think overall, as an effective scary movie and entry into the franchise, it was so out of character with the rest of the earlier films in the franchise in a lot of ways. But it's not one of my favorites. And so I personally found that idea of choosing to make your fan film around that idea a respectable and bold choice. A lot of people would have just gone, with trying to make a fun, quippy, splattery, gross Freddy movie. And this takes some other turns. Now, that being said, this didn't really draw me in, and I've been open before about there are certain Friday or Nightmare on Elm Street things that I enjoy. The first movie is good, but Freddy is the kind of supernatural weirdness that's a type of horror that doesn't really often work for me. And so of these franchises that we're talking about this week, Nightmare on Elm Street is probably, it'll be my second least favorite after Hellraiser, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. But Yeah, I appreciate the boldness of that sequelizing choice. I think it's well produced as a fan film. It just didn't really captivate me because this is just not my kind of horror vibe. This is not my flavor.
That's really funny because your two least favorite horror franchises of the week are my two favorites. I love Freddy Krueger. I love Pinhead. I guess basically just a man incorporating metal into his murder routine is my thing. Because Pinhead, his head is made of pins. I'm assuming they're metallic.
Are you saying there's no metal incorporated into Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers' killing techniques?
Those are aluminum knives.
Is aluminum not a metal?
You know what? For the sake of argument, no. No, it's
not. Do you know your periodic table, Michelle?
Don't talk about my period on this. That's personal.
That was a good out.
Anyway, yeah, thanks. I'm really good at avoiding the subject. But okay, well, I guess whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. I guess incorporate metal in a way that isn't a sword or a knife, okay?
No, you like it when they get they get sort of BDSM gothy on it. No, I get it.
Yeah, I do. I'm kind of... Anyway, the guy who played Freddy Krueger, I don't know if he was the same Freddy Krueger without because, makeup. I have no idea, but I think it is the same Freddy Krueger. But the director transforming into Freddy Krueger was very good. I liked the way that guy becomes menacing. He was a very good actor, and I loved that. And then I really liked the guy who played Dylan. I was a little confused about why the therapist died, since I didn't have as much of an emotional connection to her than I guess somebody else in this film that I might have, even if they had killed the mom somehow. Choosing her as the singular victim aside from the two who killed themselves was an interesting choice to me. One that I probably wouldn't have gone with, but you know what? I didn't make the movie, so fuck it. Who cares about my opinion? I'm an idiot. We know that. So I did really enjoy the production of it. As you pointed out, it's really, really well made. Especially, it's a YouTube short, and the fact that people can just do this is crazy to me. The world we live in, technology, back in my day, in order to make a movie, you had to take some crayons and a piece of paper and slightly change the scene with the crayons each time and take pictures of it and then put it on a projector, and the images would look like they were moving. So the fact that you can just do this now, wild. Overall, I enjoyed it though. I like anything Freddy Krueger. I like a man in a red striped shirt and a fedora.
No, like I said, I do appreciate. In fact, I would have to say I appreciate almost even more than I enjoy the first Nightmare on Elm Street film. The rest of them are kind of interchangeable for me. The one I remember specifically the most, just because it was the first one I ever saw, was Nightmare on Elm Street 4. And the bit that I very most specifically remember is the sequence where the dude is turning into a bug and he's stuck in a glue trap and his arms are ripping in half and ugh. But just overall not quite my vibe. Also, Quippy Freddy got annoying for me in a real hurry.
Oh, I thought the Quippy Freddy was very on brand for Freddy. That's another thing that I really like about him. Non-traditional killing methods. He thinks he's hilarious. This is me. Non-traditional killing methods, and I think I'm hilarious. Non-traditional killing methods in the fact that I haven't actually killed anybody. That's how non-traditional I am.
That should be, if you ever make a stand-up comedy album, that should be its title, Non-Traditional Killing Methods.
Because I'm going to kill it at the show.
Right, you caught on right away. Yeah, that'd be a hilarious Non-Traditional Killing Methods from Michelle Roller.
You should do stand-up comedy.
No, I should.
We should both do stand-up comedy.
I should really not ever again.
That chapter is closed in my life, probably, for good reason. Yeah. Okay, anyway, my nightmare is doing stand-up comedy.
I do agree with you. One of the things, whether these work for us or not, I really respect the ambition and the technique involved here. Like, this is definitely not just some dumb kids with a VHS and 2 VCRs to do some dipshit editing like me and my buddies back in high school, right? Like, this is some people who really applied themselves to, so like, it's a very respectable sort of thing, and it's I think people who are more into this franchise might really, especially if you were a fan of Wes Craven's New Nightmare, you may appreciate this. Interesting thing I want to mention about the title is, so Wes Craven's New Nightmare was released, and then this short is called Dylan's New Nightmare. And at first I was like, okay, I get what they're doing there, but it doesn't quite make sense, because with for so long I've always assumed that Wes Craven's New Nightmare was just him getting billing in the title as the director, the same way you often hear like John Carpenter's Halloween or John Carpenter's The Thing. But this movie, because of it using that title, it pointed out something that, for God's sake, should have been completely obvious to me, which is that Wes Craven is a character in that movie. He plays himself in that movie, and it puts a whole new spin and light on that title. Because this is like, oh, Wes Craven is losing his mind because this thing he dreamed up to make a movie is coming to real life. And so I just thought that was a neat little side thing. I had never thought of it that way before.
One thing that sets the Horror Show channel apart from the other things that the other channels that we're really going to talk about is that it seems like pretty much everything else on our list, as far as I know, is like, it's mostly YouTube channels, and they are devoted to making these kinds of parody videos and like fan films. And this channel is not that. They do a lot of just reviews, basically what we do, but on camera, because they're not cowards like us. So they do, just reviews of movies and things. And I think that's cool that they went, yeah, but we also want to make something. And so that's pretty cool to me that like this is what you wind up making. And obviously they are in collaboration with Womp Stomp Films, which they do make fan films and they have a little bit more experience, but I just like when people branch out. I don't know. I think that's neat. Also, I've seen some of the other review videos that they do, and oh my God, these guys have all the memorabilia and all the swag, and I'm so jealous. I want oh my God, what's the tricycle puppet from Saw called? He's not Jigsaw. He's a little puppet man, but I want one of those in my room. I want that in the back of all my very important businesswoman meetings. When I'm meeting with directors of my company, I want him just hanging out on a tricycle. Like the Horror Show channel, hook me up. send me your tricycle man.
Lauren
like,
Bobert's got semi-automatic rifles in the back of her presentation, and Michelle's just got the tricycle puppet from Saw.
Nothing else. It's me in a white room with just that and nothing else. And they're like, what's that? And I turn around like, I don't see anything. I'm just in a white room. What do you mean? I just deny.
Something I do want to jump on here just very briefly. I don't want to go too far into it because I want to do that in more detail in a very specific place later on this week. But something that we've been negotiating or talking about occasionally here is slashers, right? I think you and I would both agree 100% that Friday the 13th with Pamela and then ultimately Jason Voorhees, slasher film, right?
Agreed.
Slasher franchise. We've already mentioned tomorrow we're doing a fan film from the Hellraiser franchise. I think you and I would very much both agree Hellraiser, not a slasher franchise.
No.
Okay. So I don't want to go into the whys or why nots here. I just want a yes or no, and then we'll get more into it when we actually have the discussion in a couple of days. A Nightmare on Elm Street. Slasher franchise?
No.
No, I agree. And that's interesting because I think there are a lot of people who would say, well, he's got that knife glove and he kills people by cutting them up. Yeah, but he's also a demon who takes people out in their dreams, and there's this crazy supernatural element to it. And to me,
I will add a disclaimer.
I realize I just started to try and dig into the thing that I promised I wasn't going to dig into right away. I get carried away, guys. No, this is not a slasher franchise.
Yes, so that you don't dig in too much, I do have to add a disclaimer that it was a little bit more gray area for me until you explained to me your definition of a slasher, which I'm assuming we're going to get into very heavily on the family recipe episode in 2 days.
Yes, because that one, even more than this one, I think is very divisive.
Once we had that discussion, I went, your definition perfectly sums it up. So if anybody wants to know family recipe, because it would have been more gray area for me of like, I guess sometimes he's a slasher, but sometimes he's not, because I assumed it was in the hand movement. Is he doing a slash or not? But no. So if you're actually curious about the slasher discussion, I think that's going to be interesting, because I used to be a lot more ambiguous in those kind of things. And now I'm like, nope, JD's right. You can have this one. 100%.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Michelle. So that'll be coming up in a couple of days. Make sure you keep tuning in. We're doing fan films based on popular horror franchises this week. If you haven't heard everything we've done previously, week 1 was short films that became popular and successful feature films. Week
Shorts
2
that
was
became pants?
Yes, shorts that became popular pants.
Popular
like Jabot jeans in the early 90s.
Jenkos.
Pants. Yeah, Jenko's 99.
Jenkos.
Shit, yeah. And this week we're doing the franchises. We got...
and last week was Ari Aster.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it. Yeah, well done, Michelle.
Yeah, thanks. We haven't given a rating yet. We should probably do that.
Thank you for reminding me. Yes, Dylan's
I
New
have
Nightmare.
a checklist now.
Yeah, Dylan's New Nightmare. I'm going 3.5 on this one. It's
dang.
nothing about it that put me off. It's not the movie's fault that I wasn't super connected to it, because a lot of that is just this franchise has never been really big for me. I thought it was really well done. It was a good idea. I give it a lot of respect for having the balls to sequelize that part of the franchise. I thought that was a really left field move, and I appreciate them taking that chance.
Here's my next disclaimer. I feel like I'm giving a lot of those this week, but I feel like I boxed myself in because, unlike you, I am very meticulous about my scoring system, and I said that our shorts would be graded only compared to like other shorts, or by the fact that like these are fan films, not professionally made for a lot of them. And so once again, I am giving a short film a 4, because I am stuck in a range of, is this better than this thing? Is this worse than this thing? I'm very specific about it. It's going with a 4. If they had like one more kill, it probably would be higher. Just only killing the therapist and 2 people killing themselves is not enough. I need more murder in a half hour. Give me more murder.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
Also, I would like to point out that what you're experiencing there is exactly why I made a command decision early on that all of my ratings were going to exist independently from all of the rest of them and be a reflection of just my experience with seeing the movie the first time. Because, man, if I had to like retroactively make sure everything was in balance, I would lose my mind. Holy shit, Michelle.
Can I give you a sneak preview for something I was going to announce for the 2024
we're still here. You
year
might as well.
Of We Watch Shudder? This is announcement. JD has not heard this announcement. I've thought about it a lot. My rating system is no longer going to be in terms of number, 0.0, 0.25, 0.5, 0.75. No longer. From now on, we're going to have things like 4.23 and 4.17 and 3.26, because I need more wiggle room.
I mean, you do what you need to do, Michelle. I can't.
You like to do average ratings on the fly of like, that makes it a 4.875, and that's going to throw a wrench into your plan a little bit, but I need wiggle room. I cannot give all the movies 4s all the time.
I think what would be, oh man, we're going to have to think about this. This is legitimately happening on the fly. I think it would be even funnier if, in response to you making your ratings very much more specific,
a scale of 1 to 3 for you.
No, I was gonna say whole numbers only, right? I would modify mine as 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. No in-betweens. No bullshit.
Yes.
We'll talk. We'll see what.
I absolutely think we should do that because it's a perfect representation. Also, that is exactly what you did for all of Ari Aster's films except the first one. Every one you gave a whole number to. So I think you should just continue this. 2024, if anybody came here because they're a fan of the Horror Channel or Womp Stomp Films and you're tuning in, this is probably not a big deal for you. It will be a big deal for me because I have a sliding graph of how I enjoy movies and I need wiggle room. I'm tired of having mental breakdowns every time we record.
God.
Anyway, this got another 4 for me. All the things get 4s until 2024 and then it would be like a 4.27.
So look out for that coming up. Should we shoot for starting in November, Michelle? Are we going to do this? Should we make a command decision? We'll see what happens.
Here's when we're going to start it.
Oh,
Hell
God.
House LLC Origins, the Carmichael Manor.
It's
I
Halloween.
Love Hell House.
It
Exactly.
ends the month. Let's do it then.
Okay,
Look, nobody cares anymore.
I care.
I mean none of the people listening to us. I obviously care too, but we've lost all of our. They've all abandoned the arena at this point.
Well,
did you guys watch Beau is
done.
Afraid? You'll understand that reference if you did. We're gonna be done with this one. We got another one coming up tomorrow. Which peek behind the curtain we already recorded before we recorded this one.
Oh no, you told them our secret.
Oh no, they don't know we record these in advance. How could we possibly record them in the future? That defies logic and physics. Say goodnight, Michelle.
Good night, Michelle.
We Watch Shudder is a production of Rat Factory Media, your home for all of today's Rat Factoryist podcasts. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests of We Watch Shudder are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Rat Factory Media. But wait, aren't Rat Factory Media and We Watch Shudder the same people? Shut your cake hole, Charlie. Nobody asked you. We Watch Shudder is available free on all major podcast platforms, and the easiest way to support We Watch Shudder is also free. Just leave a rating and review on your platform of choice. Merge your consciousness with ours on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We're at We Watch Shudder on all those social media platforms. Or find us the old-fashioned way, on the web at WeWatchShudder.com or by email at mail@WeWatchShudder.com. Heck, you can even leave us a voicemail at 701-566-9510. No, seriously, 701-566-9510. Try it if you dare.